So guys, welcome to the channel. On today's video we have got the Ford Ranger. They didn't make a re-release of this, so it is a original F150 Ranger. I think I've not looked at the date. I think it's around 1983, around that time. It's the 58027, so it's the 27th Tamiya RC to be made, and it's in very nice condition. This was within that collection that I got. You've probably all seen it now if you're watching this video, but I'll leave a link just up here. Anyway, I think it's all original, and what I want to do in this video, it's got no radio gear in it. It looks like it's got the normal bushings and stuff in it. I think it may have a new front bumper, but what I want to do in this video is give it a 2020 refresh. So you see some of these big car companies that will get like an old Porsche or something and put all new electronics, new engine and stuff in it. So I'm going to do a similar thing to this. I've got a few bits and pieces that I'm going to put in it, but don't worry, the look of it and the actual chassis is all going to stay the same. I just want to modernise it a little bit. And the first thing I've got, all the Armour fanboys are going to be going crazy now because I've got a new in-box Tactic TTX 300. So we're going to stick a new set of radio gear in it. To go with that, I've also got a steering servo, Tactic steering servo, to match up against that. Got a set of bearings, a QuicRun 1060 ESC, really good ESCs these, so definitely want to use that. And then I've modified the hump pack, so it's now got, I need to change a connector to an XT60, but it's now got a lithium ion within the original battery pack. How cool is that? Really easy to do. You just have to be really careful to split that open, but it wasn't all that hard. It's a little bit rough around here, but when it's in there, it's going to fit perfectly, and we've got that little bit more power from the lithium ion. I've also got a new set of wheels and tyres. I'm not going to show you these yet because I've done something a little bit different with them. We'll put them on the end so you can see them. Anyway, let's get this really nice body off. It's painted lovely. It's like a metallic brown. I think the previous owner said it was like a Austin Allegro brown colour. Looks really nice. It's a proper Ranger body as well. The Blackfoot that had this body as well, I think it was a Blackfoot, it didn't have this cutout, so proper cutout, and it's also got these little tabs that rest on the top of the roll bar there, so it's an original Ford Ranger body. They've done two different types. This is a later one. The earlier ones had a shorter wheel arch there, but there was issues with the front wheel rubbing, so they changed it for a longer one a little bit later on. So be careful if you have got one of these, you're not aware of that. If you buy a decal set for it, one will have slightly longer bits than the other. But anyway, that is really nice. I mean, this thing looks really well looked after. Not much damage or marks at all on there. It's got the early gearbox housing with that gap there. Overall, very nice condition, looks hardly run. So the first thing I want to do, I'm going to strip it all down. I'm going to get all the old bearings out. I want to check the gearbox area, get all the bearings out, put all the new bearings in, and then once we've done that, we're going to look at getting the electronics in. I don't know what motor's in this. It's got a black end can on it. Could be anything. Could be an early silver cam. It could be a Technogold, or I don't think actually. Oh, I'm not sure. Could be a sport tuned, although it doesn't look all black. I mean, who knows? That is the exciting thing when you've got an old, like vintage retro RC that you pull apart. You don't know what you're going to find. These original look original. They got a few little cracks on the outer wall, but they rule. Look really nice. One of the reasons I've changed the wheels is because one of them slightly, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but one's white and all the others are a bit yellowy. I think the front ones are even more, so they're all a bit off colour. You can still get the wheels, so I bought them and I've done them, modernised them with a nicer colour to complement the truck. These shocks, I think they're meant to have oil in. These are definitely not anything in there. What I might do, I don't really want to, but the re-release shocks are a little bit better than this, so I might buy some re-release ones. I think they might be a little bit expensive, but although these have got that authentic look, they're just not quite as good as the newer stuff. I'll make a decision on that once I've looked at these properly. Still not sure whether this has been restored or whether this is how it was. I think it's been restored, because that bumper on the front's definitely a new one, I think. But either way, it's still full of original stuff on there. And I'm modernising it anyway, so I'm kind of restoring it, aren't I? So just a standard silver can. Is it an early one with that black, the black end can on it? I think it might be. It's a Mabuchi one. What I might do, again, I might put a torque tuned in there. I think I might have one already, or I might get a sport tune. I think a torque tune to go better in there. I don't want it like silly fast, but a bit more torque. Very clean, very nice. Right, I need to get this off so we can get the bearings in. So that's the gearbox apart. Really clean, doesn't look like it's ever been used, which is a good thing. You can see the brass bushings in here. So we're going to swap them for some nice sealed bearings. So gearbox is back together. I have got a torque tuned, but I'm pretty sure, I wouldn't say it's destroyed, but it's been through some mud and stuff. I'm not sure it's perfect, but I've got a new, the 540SH, the Mabuchi one that was out of, I don't know what kit that was out of. And I've just bought the GT1 Porsche, the new one, the TA03 RS, and that has got a Johnson motor in it, a silver can. Now these Johnson ones are meant to be pretty good, so I'm going to try, as long as it lines up with the little notches there, I think I'm going to put this in, so we've got a nice brand new Johnson silver can. On a lithium ion, that should give this a little bit of extra poke. You see on that one, you need that gap up the top there, and neither of these have got that, so they're not going to fit. A bit tight in there, whereas the original one slots straight in, so it's definitely slight changes between the older motors and the newer ones. We'll stick this one back in, and then we'll look at maybe changing it if I can find a old school one somewhere. Well, you will not believe what I have found whilst looking for an appropriate motor. This is a Mabuchi one, but it's got the red end can. I'm going to have to do a little bit of digging on these, because I know they're probably a slight upgrade from this one, but I don't know to what extent. So, I mean, it feels alright, you can never tell until you try it, but what I'm going to do is probably resolder some cables on there, and I'll stick it in a bit of water, give it a bit of a clean, and then I think that's the wrong size pinion, and then we're going to get that fitted if it seems alright. The other thing I found, some heavy duty UJs. Now these, I think, are pretty sought after. They might not be, they might just be a little bit more expensive, but compared to the brass ones, you can instantly feel when you pick these up that they got loads more weight to them. So yeah, nice little find. So this is where we're ending it tonight. Rear gearbox is back together. Lovely hardened shafts there. I think they're off of the original, I want to say Super Champ. I might be wrong, but I'm going to do a bit of digging, find out a little bit more about that. Anyway, got bearings all in there. Soldered some new cables onto this cool little motor. I'm going to go and put this through some water, clean it up a little bit in the water, and then hopefully it should be good. And we'll be back tomorrow to finish doing some more stuff. So another day, and let's get on with the electronics on this. So all the bearings are in the back. I need to get a 20-tooth pinion for the motor. I haven't actually got one because it's got the 60 It's got the 65T spur on it, so you need a 22 pinion, so I need to get one of them. I've ordered the new shocks. I mean, the old shocks add obviously that nostalgic look, but I tried putting some oil in. All the seals in there are a bit knackered, and these generally were not all that good. This one's in bits anyway, so I will keep these in a little box with the original wheels and tyres so we don't get rid of them. But I've ordered the re-release shocks, and I've ordered, I think they're TRF rebuild kits with silicone O-rings and stuff in, which apparently if you put them in the new re-release shocks, they don't leak either. So new set of shocks on the way, so I have to leave them for the moment. The new front wheels that I've not put on yet, and I'm not showing you yet, they've got the new bearings in and stuff. So all we need to do now is get the electronics in, get the steering hooked up, and then just give it a bit of a test on the bench. So before we fit this servo, it's probably a good idea to check it. So servo works, that'll be fine in there. It's probably not the quickest of things, but it's a bit oily. Probably not the quickest of things, but considering that this is from the early 80s, it's probably better than what would have been in it from new. That works. I've checked the motor up against this, so I know all the electronics work, so now it's just a case of getting it fixed in the correct position. Then we've got to fix the steering arm on. That goes through that goes in there, and it's another feature I'm keeping. Some people put the servos, they mount them like that so they're direct. Obviously they take that box out, but again, I want to try and keep this, modernise it a little bit, but also keeping that vintage look and feel of it. So I want the steering to be how it would have been back in the day with that long arm there on the servo. So electronics are in. I realised after I'd already put the ESC over here that the motor wires have to tuck under there because they go through the back there then up to the motor. So I just changed position, so ESC is in, receiver's there, battery will go across there. I neaten all this up once it's all in and done. Servo is mounted and adjusted, so it should be pretty straight on the steering. To change the connector on the battery, but we are ready for the first test. I've stolen a 20-tooth pinion off of one of my sand scorchers, so that is ready to go. No suspension on it at the moment. Obviously we're waiting for the new suspension to come, but let's fire it up and let's give it its first test. Oh, well, I've not tried this, so you're sharing this with me. I think I might have got the receiver switched round. Steering, throttle. Oh dear, it happens to the best of us. Right, steering. Yes, that steering works nice. Nice, solid feel to it. Throttle. So that's round the wrong way. Definitely round the wrong way. Right, let's swap them motor wires around. There we go. Forward. Brake. Reverse. We are up and running. So what happened there was I actually had the motor around the wrong way, and I had the throttle on normal when it needs to be on reverse. So motor switched around the other way, and then throttle switched on the transmitter. We are nearly good to go. So all we've got to do now is wait for the suspension to arrive, get the body on, get the new wheels on, then hopefully I'll be able to give you a little bit of running footage. It might just be around the garden. I might be able to do some stuff over near where I work. But anyway, next time you see this, it's going to be finished. I present to you my 2020 Tamiya Ford Ranger XLT. This thing is so nice. So I thought about doing some talking as I was driving, but the amount of wind and the noise from the sea and stuff like that, it was just too much to talk, and I was just having fun driving it, so I wasn't really thinking about talking much. So slight changes to
What's powering this now? Obviously you saw in the build video I was going to put the stock motor back in, or a silver can. I did actually modify the gearbox in the end, and as you can see it's quite quick, and that is because it's got a new sport tuned in, and it's also got a Lipo in because my battery that I made dropped a cell. So it's got a 2S Lipo and a new sport tuned, and this thing has got loads and loads of power, and it is awesome. So slight modification flying machine. Slight modifications to the gearbox to allow the motor to go in, because the older gearboxes they're slightly smaller diameter than the new re-release like Scorcher and stuff. You can fit brushless motors and things in there, whereas these you can't. So I had to take a little bit of material out of the gearbox, take the little notch off, and now this has got a black can sport tuned in, and it's mental. So much footage of this on the beach. I'm going to do another video. I'm going to do like a cinematic montage. I know a lot of people don't like that. I've left this footage raw so you can watch it. I'm going to leave you to watch it now, but I've got loads more footage. Look out for another video coming probably in the next few days. If you're watching this within the next week or so, it's probably already out, and I'll link it at the end. Enjoy the rest of this video. This thing is awesome. Cheers for watching. I'll see you next time.